Hello, I'm James Wells, Education Manager at Crayola. We're excited that Penguin Kids and Penguin Classroom are collaborating with Crayola for this read-along, draw-along event to help children enjoy great stories and illustrations that bring them to life. In honor of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, we'll be sharing a beautifully illustrated picture book that highlights the achievements of many Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders who have made invaluable contributions to the world. So get cozy, grab some drawing materials, and get ready for an interactive story session. I'm thrilled to introduce today's authors, Maia and Alex Shibutani, and illustrator Aloud Jaleel.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, happy to be here.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, Maia and Alex, you are two-time Olympic bronze medalists, three-time world medalists, 4 continents champions, and 2-time U.S. national champions. At the 2018 Winter Olympics, you became the first ice dancers of Asian descent to medal at the Olympics and are only the second sibling duo in the history of the sport to win an ice dance medal. Could you tell us about what sparked your interest in ice skating?
Alex and I are siblings, and we grew up in Old Greenwich, Connecticut, and we first started skating when I was 4 and he was 7. We teamed up when we were 9 and 12, and that's when our passion for skating, I'd say, really took off.
Yeah, because I was only kind of into it when I first started, but it was getting to do it with Maya and having so much fun learning things together. And having fun really helps you make progress faster, at least that's my experience. And so we've had an amazing career and so many really cool experiences together.
Awesome. So you are known as the Shib Sibs. Could you tell us about that experience of competing professionally alongside your sibling?
What to say?
Working together has been amazing. I feel like through any sort of challenge, we've been there for each other. We trust each other so much. So we have a lot of special memories.
Ooh, I'm glad you said that. We have a great relationship. We definitely have a lot of trust. We've skated in a lot of high pressure situations. So knowing that you have family with you in that moment is really comforting. We work so hard. And so it's really great to go into those situations with a lot of confidence.
I couldn't agree with you more as a sibling myself. Yes, the opportunity to be along your loved ones, the collaboration and partnership certainly helps. So now, in addition to ice dancing, you're also incredible storytellers. Could you tell us what inspired you to start writing children's books?
Well, we've loved reading books ever since we were kids, and storytelling is a natural part of figure skating. And so taking our storytelling from the ice to the pages of books was kind of a natural progression for us. And we're still a team. And so while it's a little bit different, we've been able to experience a lot of the same joys writing as we have skating.
Wow, thank you for sharing those parallels between writing books and ice dancing. Aaliyah, you are a children's book illustrator and animator. As a freshman in college, you were approached to illustrate your first children's book. Tell us what prepared you to take on such a big project at such a young age.
I mean, for sure, I did not expect to take on such a big project at such a young age. I was just starting as a freshman in college for animation, so illustration and the whole publishing industry hadn't even come to mind. But I was approached by an editor from a publishing house for my first book, Under My Hijab. She wanted me to illustrate a children's book for the first time. And so it was really daunting, but the help from the editor, the art director, and everyone being so patient as I learned the process of children's illustration and kind of shifting my art style from animation to illustration in order to fit that. It was the help along the way. That's basically what helped me to do that so early on.
Maia and Alex, you co-authored the book, Amazing Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders Who Inspire Us All. What inspired you to write this book that celebrates the stories of 36 Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders?
This is a book that we wish that we had when we were children. I think that our parents did a great job exposing us to different stories about people from different backgrounds, but the Asian American and Pacific Islander community really deserves to be celebrated. So we're so excited that with our collaborators, we were able to create Amazing.
Definitely. We want to uplift our community and introduce others to all of the incredible contributions that people from the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities have made.
It's so important for kids to see themselves in stories and careers, and this book is a delight. I recognize a few of those celebrities and love reading about their backgrounds, such as musician Her, actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Vice President Kamala Harris. There are several others that people may not be as familiar with. So can each of you read a page or two from the book, perhaps about someone whose story was new to you?
Sure, that sounds great. Alex is going to be my assistant and hold open the book while I read this first page.
Okie dokie.
So this is an illustration of Duke Kahanamoku and Carissa Moore. Surfing made its debut at the 2020 Olympic Games, and Carissa became the first woman to win a gold medal. For Native Hawaiians, surfing is not only a sport, but also an important part of their culture. A century before, Duke, a three-time Olympic swim champion, had asked the Olympic Committee to include surfing, but they refused. So he traveled to share the art of wave riding with the world. Carissa's historic win was a dream come true for her and her hero, Duke.
Now we're going to switch places, and Maya is going to hold the book while I'll read a page about Victoria Manalo Graves and Dr. Sammy Lee. And you can talk, I'm still here. Okay, let's get started. When Vicky and Sammy were kids in California, public pools were for whites only. Vicky, who was part Filipino, and Sammy, who was Korean American, could only use the pools once a week, right before they were drained. Because of this, Sammy mostly practiced diving in a backyard sand pit. Vicky convinced the club to let her in, and she dived up to 100 times each practice. At the 1948 Olympic Games, Vicky and Sammy triumphed, becoming the first Asian Americans to win gold medals. So those are some really incredible stories about some trailblazing Asian American and Pacific Islander athletes. We didn't know about the stories of Victoria and Dr. Sammy Lee before we started writing this book. And so it was super inspirational for us to learn more about them.
Maya and Alex, thank you so much for sharing those stories with us. I am so excited to read more and to continue researching these incredible individuals. Thank you so much. Aaliyah, your medium is visual art. You use art tools to help bring stories like this to life. Could you describe your creative process and what drew you to illustrate a book like Amazing?
So my creative process when it comes to children's books, I primarily work only digitally. I love traditional art. I love using crayons and colored pencils, but for books, I work digitally. I use my iPad and a program called Procreate. And basically the process of illustrating this book was that they would send me the manuscript with all of the information for each individual highlighted in this book. I would try to figure out how to piece them together because some are grouped as athletes, others are entertainers, we have people that work in the food industry. And so trying to find a way to group them in an illustration as well as highlight what makes them so special and doing that in a dynamic way was very challenging, an exciting challenge to take on. So I love doing dynamic spreads with the athletes, incorporating different food illustrations for the foodies, and just like so on and so forth.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so important, I think, for many of our young artists and those joining us today understand the process that artists go through to research and experiment when creating things, in this case, this book. So thank you for sharing those insights. Okay, Aaliyah, so in this book, each page features a different true story with an illustration of the person featured beside it. Could you show us how to draw a portrait like the ones featured in this book?
Sure thing, James. I'm gonna show you guys today how to draw a portrait, and I'm going to do a portrait of some individuals I think that should have made it into the book but did not get to. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm gonna start off with a light colored pencil to start sketching the layer underneath so I don't mess up later on. Switch to a slightly darker color. So I like to start off with the head for the portrait. Different face shapes always come into play. So now that I have somewhat of a under sketch, I'm gonna go in with the crayons to do the skin tones. I love using crayons. I work primarily digitally now but whenever I get to use traditional mediums from when I was a kid, it's always so fun. I'm gonna try to get some shading in with some darker colors. These new Colors of the World Crayola crayons are some of my favorites. They really make doing portraits nice because you get so much diversity in colors. I'm gonna go back in with the color pencil and do some more outlining to define these a bit more. For whenever I do portraits, I always like to add a little bit of a blush tone. So I'm gonna go in with a little pink crayon. Just add a little bit of color. And I'm gonna start defining the features a bit more with a black colored pencil. And then it's just going back and forth between the crayons and colored pencils, adding more details. And for the black crayon, there it is. I'm gonna start on the hair now. I like to draw hair the way it flows out of the head. So always on the hairline. And I like to overlap colors to add a bit more definition. I'm gonna go in and add a little bit more color here. Now here's a fun trick I like to do with crayons and watercolor that I'm gonna show you guys. We're gonna do a few of the starbursts that we see in Amazing Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. I did a lot of abstract swooshes and starbursts. And now I'm gonna use my watercolors. And see how the watercolors don't go over the crayon? They just blend right out. And there you have it, a portrait similar to the ones you find in the book.
Wow, Aaliyah, I think I recognize these two amazing individuals you've captured here. They sort of look like the Sibs. So I want to thank you, and I couldn't agree with you more that they are doing amazing things, very similar to those featured in the book. So thank you so much for capturing this. And more importantly, thank you for demonstrating your process in creating these portraits.
It's amazing. It really is. To watch someone doing like to draw or to illustrate.
So in flow, and it just seems to come out of your hands and you, and that's incredible to see it.
Alex, you brought up a really interesting point, and you as well, Maya, where you talk about flow. Artists have a moment where they go into flow. How does flow work when you're ice dancing? What does that feel like when you compare that to what artists do?
Like all things, I imagine that you only can reach flow once you've put in a lot of work, because it means that you spent the hours to really explore your craft. And so for us, we always felt fortunate when we found that sense of togetherness on the ice at the same time, because since we are two people, we can't always control what the other one does.
Yeah, so it's that combination of preparation, hard work, and then
Belief in yourself and the moment.
And then, yeah, being in the moment and having trust in your own abilities to let go and enjoy the process of doing it. And that's when you get those really like special flow state feelings.
What we saw was incredible.
Yeah, just the amount of work that Aaliyah has been putting in her entire life to be able to do what she does now. So much admiration and respect. Everyone has drawn something before. It's a part of all of our sort of childhoods and upbringings and experiences. Not everyone has skated. And so when people see us skate in person or on television, they're just like, oh, like, that's really cool. But I find watching someone draw or paint or illustrate, it's so much more impressive than skating could ever be to me. It is such a gift.
Aloud, this story features all sorts of incredible people who have careers as actors, astronauts, athletes, even musicians. In addition to being a book illustrator, you're also an animator. Many people are familiar with digital animation that we see on our computers and television. But you also create motion in your art by using sketches to create a flipbook. Could you show us how to create a simple flipbook animation?
This step you don't need. I like using a light source. I just use my iPad with a blank screen on it to help me see through the index cards that I have. I cut up construction paper, but you can use regular blank index cards too. Those should work. And we're gonna get started. Today, I'm going to be doing some abstract swooshes and starbursts. I like doing a lot of those for the cover and for a lot of the interior design for amazing Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. So we're gonna do a little swoosh and a starburst. So you're gonna start with a little piece, and then the next one, you're gonna layer over that and try to continue on with that line. You can see it's like a similar. Now, when you're making a flip book, you always work on the corner because it's the easiest to flip. And I'm just using markers for this because it's easy to get simple shapes quickly. Did I repeat? And each new card you do, you just kind of add a little bit more to it. You see how there's like the slightest difference between the two. So now that we have our last one, I'm going to combine all of the index cards we have together. So this very last, and I'm just going to paper clip the sides so it stays together. Okay, let's test this out and see if it works. Ah, we had a little mini flipbook. There you go.
Wow, Aloud, thank you so much for showing us that step-by-step process to create our very own illustration. And like this book, this demonstration was in fact amazing. Thank you, Aloud. Now that you've seen some of Aaliya's wonderful illustrations, it is your time to draw. Grab some colored pencils, crayons, or markers, and paper. Think about who you want to draw. Will you draw yourself or someone who inspires you? Or you might want to create a flipbook animation to make your character move. What will they be doing? When you finish your art, post a photo in the comments section of this video. We can't wait to see what you create. Parents and teachers, when the young artists finish their work, it would be great for you to ask them to explain what amazing things they will share with the world. And while kids are busy drawing, I want to mention that parents and teachers can also be the first to know about free learning events like this one by signing up to receive the Crayola Education monthly e-newsletter. Colorful and fun resources will be delivered right to your email box. Maya and Alex, we've been so inspired by your stories that you shared today about the undeniably positive impacts that Pacific Islanders and Asian Americans have made in this country and around the world. Maya, we have learned through your story that you are never too young to do amazing things. What advice do you have for children who seek to do amazing things in their community or their careers?
My advice is to dream big and believe in yourself. It's really helpful when you're trying to reach a goal to set short-term goals along the way so that you can feel like you're making progress. Also, find a mentor and people in your community that you can spend time with, because everything is better when you have a teammate or community to support you.
Yeah, having people who believe in you as you pursue your dreams is really so important. And so if you can find that mentor, that person who can be a support system for you, that's a wonderful thing and will help you along your journey.
Wow, thank you so much. So Alex, I have a question for you as well. What legacy do you hope to leave behind through your career as a figure skater, storyteller, and ambassador?
Oh, the legacy question. It's such a tough one because I feel like in many ways I'm just getting started. I'm figuring out what I want to be when I grow up, even though I'm kind of a grown up. But I hope to, with all of my work, creatively uplift and inspire, and then add to the fabric of representation so people can see themselves and be introduced to other people from different communities. We like to say that we want to be bridge builders, so connecting people from different backgrounds and different walks of life.
Aaliyah, your illustrations captured the character and passion of these prominent people. Similar to Maya and Alex, you didn't wait until you were an adult to do amazing things in the field of illustration. What additional tips would you like to share with young artists who have aspirations to follow your path?
My biggest advice is don't be shy when sharing your work. People are going to love your work even if you see the smallest flaws in it. And so just be proud of what you accomplish and be proud enough to share it with everyone.
Thank you all for those encouraging words and inspiration. And we want to thank Maya and Alex and Aaliyah for inspiring us today. We also want to thank our friends at Penguin Kids and Penguin Classroom for publishing this great book. And we want to share a special thanks with everyone for joining us today. Be amazing every day.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye-bye.